Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be taking a look at some very practical ways to make MegaScans elements look in as good in Blender as possible while using as little resources as possible. So for this one, the first one is pretty obvious. It's just using level of detail 0. Using high poly elements is great, and obviously for objects that are closer to camera, things that people directly interact with, absolutely recommend using those. But in this shot specifically, this is going to be a giant wall in the background of this sort of interior cave that this guy down here is occupying. So this will be mostly out of focus and a good distance away. There's going to be some atmospherics in here as well. So for that, we're going to be using the albedo, and that's the diffuse color. So you can just plug that in, and you can see where we're at there. Generally speaking, from here, you'd go down the list of your principled BSDF, plugging in all of the different maps that you might need to make this thing look as good as possible. But today, we're only going to use two. We're going to use the albedo, and we're going to use the normal. So we're going to plug the normal into the normal, and as you're going to see, that's going to make it look really weird. So obviously, if you've worked with textures before, you know that this needs to be set to non-color. And then we also need to add a normal map node to plug that into. So right now, things are looking a little shiny, and to fix that, we're going to take the color and we're going to plug that into the roughness, and we're going to add a color map. Now what the color map does is it converts the image to black and white, which is the exact same information that the roughness map uses. If we bring over the right white handle here, you'll notice that it becomes less shiny, less glossy as we bring that in. So all of the black areas of the image are going to be high gloss, high reflectivity, and all the whites are going to be rough. So this is something that you can dial in by eye. This saves a lot of resources. Obviously, you're plugging in a bunch of 4K elements. Depending on how many MegaScans elements you end up having in a scene, this can be a huge amount of resources saved. You know, in this scene, I'm going to have floor elements. I'm probably going to have 3 or 4 different wall elements to break it up. There's going to be statues, columns, arches. Who knows what else I'm going to put in this scene. And by the end of it, you know, if I had 5 or 6 4K maps per item, that's gigabytes of VRAM usage just in environments. But there's a couple other things that we can do to kind of make this look a little bit better. Obviously, you can play around with the specular depending on how much you want that to, or how you want that to look. So this is the interior of a cave for me, so I do want there to be a little bit of reflectivity. I'm also going to add a hue and saturation, and I'm going to bring the saturation on this all the way down. And I'm going to bring the value down a little bit as well. And the reason I'm doing that is because later on, I'm going to have a set color in here to dictate the color of the wall so that everything kind of matches together. But another cool trick you can do is you can add a bump node down here. Take the color, plug that into the height. This isn't 100% necessary, but I do like to run it through a color ramp, just so that I'm using strictly black and white color information. And then as you can see, that has taken all of the fine detail from the 4K diffuse map and converted into bump information. So especially from back here, let's take a look at what that looks like without and with a little bit. You can see it adds a lot of detail. Adds a lot of detail really quickly. If someone in the comments knows what the difference between the strength and the distance is, they kind of feel like they sort of do the same thing, but I'm not 100% sure. Let me know. I've heard conflicting reports from different people, so I just dial in until it kind of looks good for what I'm going for. And that's it. So now we have a really fast loading, a really optimized element in our scene that we can start using that isn't going to use all of our VRAM. So I hope you got some tips out of this, and thanks for watching.